Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Velga the Observer, and this week I happen to have time to make a full drawing, right? And we're getting straight into it. I have a sketch of the side profile here, and I will try to just block it in, right, using my own colors. Just straight away blocking it in. So what we are doing today is sort of a demonstration of painting instead of drawing. And I have deliberately made the shapes of the face, like the nose and the chin, to be this way because I'm in the mood today for quite caricature. But who knows, it might actually end up looking realistic. Because this chin is quite large and the nose is quite small. Okay, let's go back to using this color now. And we will block in the rest of the face, the head. Let's go bigger with a bigger brush. We can actually go brighter around here. And I'm not trying to be overly accurate with my shadows. I haven't figured out the shape of the planes of this head just yet. I just know I want the face itself to be in the dark and the side of the head to be brighter. So it's like if we are the camera, then we are holding a flashlight and pointing it at this face, this head. Okay. And I'm no wizard, not a wizard when it comes to painting. But so far, what I have deduced, let's get rid of these little sketches first. So far, what I have deduced from doing this for at least half a year, painting, is that I forget about being able to export this whole thing as like a PNG, because it's just not possible, at least with my current skill level, or it might not be possible at all without making it look bad. Not sure, but and let's merge these two. But for now, I think paintings look best when you don't think about being able to export, let's say, just the head as a separate PNG, separate that from the background, because I think all these bits that are showing through, all these uneven stuff, some parts of the paint are not evenly applied. All that kind of stuff showing through is actually what makes paintings look good. And unlike drawings, where there are outlines and you stay within the outlines, paintings, I feel, look best when you don't think about being able to export this thing as like a separate PNG. And also, there are two more things. So that was the first one, forgetting about being able to export this thing as a PNG. The other two things is I can only be able to do this if I have made myself used to being able to make out shapes out of solid forms. Let's say this whole thing is just black, right? It does help a lot if I am able to figure out, oh, this is where the eyes go, this is where the nostrils go, and this is where the lips go, and what they are supposed to look like. Being able to visualize that in 3D in your head helps a lot. And lastly, keeping the mentality that throughout this whole thing, what I am doing is simply making a big mess so that I can fix it later. And towards the end, it will, well, I mean, no matter how long you do this for, it will still feel like that's what you're doing. You could have just begun, or you could be 3 minutes away from putting down your Apple Pencil, your stylus, whatever you're using. It's always going to feel like you are just tidying up the mess you made 5 minutes prior. Okay, those three things is what I have learned. So now we're going back and darkening some areas that are more indented inwards. See, I didn't erase that fully, which it's fine. We don't have to. I think let's just make this whole eyeball white for now. Let's imagine that's the eyeball. And the eyes. Eyes are actually a tricky thing. Let's compare the eyes to the cheeks. Cheeks are, you either have one flat plane, or for people who have dimples, that's one more detail, and for people who have cheekbones, that's another detail. So 3 things for people who have dimples and cheekbones, maximum, right? So a big plane, dimples, cheekbones, that's it. But for eyes, you've got the lower eyelid, you've got the upper eyelid, eyelashes, and some people have wrinkly eyelids. They've got like 3 folds in it. And if you're Asian, you've got that single no fold eyelid type of thing. And then you've got the eyeball, eyelashes, the fleshy pink bit where the tear ducts are. So it's a very complex looking thing, so it's okay to spend extra amounts of time just for the eyes, because it actually is that detailed. Let's go back to using dark again. I know I did say that I'd like this whole area to be light, right? But it might just change. Let's see what happens. Because this is quite spontaneous, what I'm doing here. Shadow underneath that one upper eyelid. Okay, so I need to be quite bold with this. There's no other way than to make it darker if we are going to follow our initial plan on making this just look dark. Okay, let's keep darkening this. Let's make this part above the brow ridge darker a little bit. Not applying full pressure here. Let's use a bigger brush now to gradate that over to the top a bit. And now we can darken. Fully darken once more. Okay, this is quite nice. We can make this tighter again towards the end, but for now, I think I would like to clearly separate the side of the head from the front. So the ear actually, because there's only one, will be necessary for this. Let's just make outlines for now, because we can make that disappear later. Sort of forgot how ears look. Hang on, there's this. Touching my own ear just so I remember. It goes like that. And there's this groove in here. I think it goes like this now. There. I think that's how it's supposed to look. And there's the exaggerated ear hole. Let's darken it. Gotta be brave here. Okay, so to somewhat get rid of it, what we need to do is simply paint over the thing until the outlines just get covered up. That's all you have to do. And assuming you are trying to clearly separate the ear from the head, like this, you do sort of have to possibly break lighting rules, right? Because it might look not this brightly lit. I'm talking about the ear here, compared to whatever ear you might be looking at in real life if this was taken from a photo. Why? It's just artistic license, because you'd like to separate that ear from the head. No other reason. In fact, if this is not bright enough, you could go very bright, like this, just to further exaggerate the light. Although, to bring out shapes, to push one shape back and to bring another forward, it's not necessarily by adding light to one. You can also just add shadow to the one behind. So by adding shadow to something, you are pretty much making the other thing become a highlight. This is actually quite proper already for a sketch. Okay, some stuff I could probably change for now. Let's shade this part. And this is how I like to do my portraits, right? And what I mean by this is a portrait might look flat if you were to really use diffused lighting. So let's say you've got like a quarter of a cylinder, like this, and there's a light coming from this direction. So this whole plane could look evenly lit, so the whole thing could be one shade of color. Or if you'd like to make this extra detail, even though it's such a simple surface, right? You could just make the sides darker here and also here, but then we make it gradate towards a brighter color as we get closer to the front. And toward the front you could maybe add like a highlight, like so. Why? Because this part here is closer to the light, and this one, the sides, let me use a darker color so you can see the sides here are further. So even though the whole plane is facing the light, some parts are further from the light than others, which is why I think for portraits it would help a lot if you could, let's say if you have a photo and you're using that as a reference and the light is quite bright, but you can see all of the facial features. So I think it would help greatly if you can just darken the edges, the parts furthest away from you on your own, to make that just that much more detailed. Okay, so I'm trying to, following our initial plan of making the side of the head brighter. Now I'm not looking at any photos or anyone for this, so it might not make any sense, right? But that's okay. I mean, this is good enough. Being a drawing from imagination, I think. Oh, and this whole drawing I've been doing on a single layer, see, and using one brush. I actually erased only a little bit. If you want to make it look extra realistic, as in not like an actual person, I mean like realistic in a way that it looks like you've made that for real with actual paint, try not to use the eraser tool, because in real life you can't erase paint, right? You can only overlap paint with more paint. So in this case, the background is white. Instead of erasing this, you could actually just paint over it with white. Okay, now I would like to, since all the big shapes, shadow shapes and lights have somewhat been taken care of, it's time to add different shades to the shadows and lights, because this whole shadow shape is one color, right? But things are never like that in real life. You would know if you just stared at stuff long enough. So I've taken this tone of brown and I'm going to go darker. And in some parts, I will go ahead and make darker. Okay, not everywhere, just in some parts. Okay, maybe a little bit here. We can go darker even. Ooh, it's too much, that one. And this is the type of drawing where I have sort of determined for the darks to be minimal, like the intense near black darks to be minimal. So I'm going very dark now, pretty much black, right? Pretty much, although it's not. It's still somewhat brown-ish. So for these intense blacks, I'm not going to apply it all over the place. Okay, the folds in eyelids are pretty much outlines. So if you think outlines don't exist in real life, think again. Some people have these indentations on their nostrils where it meets the face. It's so dark that it's pretty much outlines. Also, their corners of the lips. Won't hurt to add outlines everywhere. I mean, if you come up to someone's face and then you stared at it real good, I'm sure it will not really look like outlines. But if you're looking at them like a normal human being would from like a meter away, then yeah, I mean, some parts would definitely just look like they're outlines, you know? So might as well turn those into outlines. Let's go black, actually straight black for the nostrils. Okay. What else? Oh, I think we can introduce a bit more light here in the back. Because usually the part where like the skull meets the neck, there's like a wrinkly bulge. Right? And where there are bulges, there will of course be indentations. So the part where the two bulges meet, there will be an indentation. So we go and make that darker. Like that. Okay, an extra thing that you now can do is, have you noticed that all I've been doing is just shifting up and down, left and right, but it's still the same color? Now what you can do is, you take that color, same darkness, right, but you shift it a little bit. So now some parts are more pink. Actually, this particular color, like this pinkish orange, all sorts of skin have it. You can apply it to all sorts of skin color. Just depends though, let's say if you're black, it might be elsewhere. Black people's skin is actually quite reflective and colorful. It's like a mirror. When you paint like a white person, you can sort of get away with using almost white and a little bit of pink, a little bit of yellow maybe, but with black people you get all sorts of colors. You even get green, purple and gray, and even more intense blues because it catches light very easily. Okay, a little bit of bright on some of the bright ones here from a different color, like a pinkish color. Take this one, make it go brighter, but then once again pinkish, because pink's good for parts of the face that has more blood. Like the nose, lips. Okay, let's take this one now. Shift it to a more reddish color. Because it's the cheeks here. And all of a sudden we went from a fairly yellow person to a person with colors somewhat resembling that of an actual human being. And I think we can go quite intensely red for some parts of the ears. Oops, why is it still? Okay. There. Seamlessly merging into the face, that part of the ear. I think we can go quite light here now, in a more grayish or blue tone. That is not tidy enough. Okay. Let's go quite strong with a smaller size brush. Okay, let's go a little bit bigger now. Okay. A little bit here. And we go super intense here. And now, I think, with that same brush, we can use the smudge tool. Again, not 100%, somewhere down the middle. And we blur out these shadows. Not everywhere, only in some parts. Okay, time to decide if I actually have made a mistake here. Although I like that one. Let's get rid of all those blues. Does it look better like this? Yeah, I think it does look better without the blues. You know what? That's okay. Let's get rid of the blues, although I do like the one here. So let's add that back in. For the super intense parts, I guess it's okay to add it. These blues. Okay. Let's go a little brighter and something more pink for the lower lip. Go darker again near the edges of the lower lip. There. Okay, so he's looking sort of scary, right? With the pure white eyeballs. Let's give him, what do you call this? The cornea? It was pure white down here. Okay. Let's go with black now. Let's sort of have that melt into the upper eyelid, like so. And then on a separate layer, we can go pure white and add like a sheen. Okay, again. There. And here. Just cuts across. Okay. Not looking too bad, although I think I can add this dark here. Let's go again down here and darken the part where the cheek becomes the nose. Okay, do it some more. Let's give him like a laugh line here. Okay. There. We might be able to darken this too. Darken a little bit down here. Looking a bit too textured now, so let's blend it out. Just to get a bit more smoothness. Okay. I think we can leave it at that, right? A little demo of painting. Started as a drawing, but now it's a painting. Let's go back and look at what we just did. This is just as like a sketch. A bunch of sketches I did. So okay, so now this is the actual sketch of what we just did. It started out as a drawing. See, I made outlines. But then I went right in and blocked the flat colors in. Just keeping in mind vaguely where I want the lights and darks. Right? So now we are here, and I'm starting to block out where I want the more little parts of lights and darks to be, because these are the big ones. Now we're starting to go smaller, right? So the front of the nose, the cheeks, bits on the eyebrows, lips, and we keep getting smaller and smaller, doing the more smaller areas like the eyes and little wrinkles here and there. Just keep doing that, and then we have arrived about here. And now what I'm doing is pretty much just adding more color here and there so he doesn't look all that yellow. Hang on, like this. See, just adding more detail, like here. It started here. So I guess you can call this part okay here, right here. And then I added more intense darks, and I added a bit more reds, more oranges and blues, until in the end, this is what we have ended up with. So that's it for this week's video. Thanks a lot for tuning in. If you've been here before, thank you very much. If you haven't and you're new, please do consider subscribing and giving this video a like so that you will come across me again in your recommendations somewhere in the future. And name's Velga the Observer. I'll see you again in next week's video. Bye.